So I'm Alex Fergus, and I'm going to show you what exactly the perfect red light therapy mask should have for it to work. This is going to be based on real science, real testing, and years of experience in the red light therapy space. So this red light therapy mask says it uses NASA science to erase wrinkles, whereas this mask has 7 different inbuilt colors, and all of these are meant to help improve your skin health. But here's the truth, you only really need 2, maybe 3 wavelengths, and if the power isn't right, all of this stuff is rubbish. I'm affiliated with some of the companies mentioned in this video, and I will earn a commission if you buy through my links or discount codes. Products were provided to me free of charge, and all opinions are my own. This is not medical advice. So when it comes to buying a red light therapy mask, there's 4 key things you need to look at. The first is the light output. What light is the mask shining? What colors or wavelengths, and also the power intensity. Secondly, you have coverage. Is that light hitting the right spots on the face? Thirdly, you have fit and ease in use, because hey, you could have the best mask in the world, but if you don't like using it, what's the point? And then finally, we have price and peace of mind. At the end of the day, we all have a budget we have to work with, and we only want to buy from reputable companies. I should also mention these 4 categories make up the key criteria I used when comparing 20 of the best red light therapy masks on the market in my quest to find the best of the best. Anyway, more on that later in the video. Okay, so when buying a red light therapy mask, the first thing to look at is the light output, the light itself, the wavelengths, and the intensity of that light. You see, this is where a lot of masks fall apart. You could have the most comfortable, uniquely designed looking mask in the world, but if it doesn't have the right wavelengths, the right colors, it's simply not going to work. Every color has a particular wavelength. Red light, for instance, has a wavelength of 660 nanometers. Different colors, different wavelengths have different effects on the body. They also penetrate the skin at different depth. And not all colors are equal when it comes to skin health. In fact, not all colors or wavelengths are equal when it comes to red light therapy. What may do wonders for that aching knee or to help with memory and cognitive function doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work well for skin and beauty. When it comes to skin and beauty, there's 2 key wavelengths you want to look for. There's a visible red light and short-range near-infrared light. Research is showing that these wavelengths at the right intensity, more on that soon, are able to stimulate fibroblasts, increase ATP in the cell, reduce inflammation, and improve skin firmness. So let's look at red light first. Here you want a wavelength between, say, 630 to 660 nanometers. Now this light is effectively the gold standard. It's where the red comes from in red light therapy. And this red light is going to help with skin health and collagen. Studies have shown that the energy from this light is absorbed in the mitochondrial cells. This in turn triggers a cascade of effects. It increases ATP, it increases cellular energy, it increases collagen production, and also helps reduce inflammation. Now, red light only penetrates a few millimeters into the skin, which is actually ideal for stimulating fibroblasts. These are cells that help produce elastin and collagen. The result, and this is confirmed by science, firmer skin, more elastin, less wrinkles, better texture and tone. Next up, we have the second heavy hitter, and this is near-infrared light, typically in the range of, say, 800 nanometers out to 850 nanometers. Now, near-infrared light actually penetrates deeper into the skin. We're talking about 5 to 10 millimeters here, reaching your lower dermis. Now, it works in a similar way to red light, but because it's getting deeper, it's going to have different effects. You're still going to see elasticity and collagen benefits, but you're also getting a big boost in blood flow circulation to these cells. This is going to have a profound anti-inflammatory effect and accelerate tissue repair. Now, used alone, near-infrared light can help with skin firmness. However, combine it with red light and you get both surface and deep level stimulation, a combination that most clinical trials use and what most red light therapy masks use. However, if you find a mask that doesn't have both of these wavelengths, don't even bother with it. There's going to be a lot better options out there. But what about this mask? Yes, it's got the red. But what about the green, the blue, the purple, pink? Do these wavelengths have benefit? Well, I refer to these other colors, other wavelengths, as nice to have or special purpose wavelengths. First up, we have blue light. This ranges from 400 to 470 nanometers. Now, blue light isn't used for anti-aging, so why do we often see it in red light therapy masks? Well, it's actually very beneficial for skin conditions such as acne or eczema. It reacts with porphyrins in acne-causing bacteria, and the blue light produces reactive oxygen species that kill off these bacteria. So if you have breakouts, blue light can help, but for wrinkles and collagen production, blue light is effectively useless. And in darker skin tones, it may even worsen hyperpigmentation if overused. So a mask with blue light is a nice to have. It does serve its place, but it's not a must have. Now, if you do find the perfect mask for you and it has blue light in it, be sure that it has a function to disable the blue light, because if you don't have acne or eczema problems, you don't really need to use it. Next, we have green light. This is 520 to about 540 nanometers. Now, green isn't a critical must-have wavelength when talking about skin and beauty, but there is some research showing it helps with circulation, wound healing, and cellulite appearance. So the jury's still out on this one. Again, it's a nice to have, but not a must-have. Then we have amber light. 585 to say 600 nanometers. It's a slightly shorter wavelength than red light, meaning it penetrates less deep than red, but it has shown effectiveness for reducing redness in the skin and also calming reactive skin. Now, some studies have shown it can reduce reactive oxidant stress in the skin cells. So while not essential, it looks like it could be beneficial for skin health and is a nice little add-on for a red light therapy mask. Now, what about pink or purple? Well, these colors are quite fascinating because they're actually a combination of wavelengths. You see, pink light is a combination of red and blue. You shine a red and a blue LED, and we as humans see pink. But the skin isn't receiving pink light. It's actually just receiving some red and some blue. Likewise with purple. So when you see a company saying, oh, it's also got pink and purple wavelengths, and these are going to have these benefits, the benefits are simply the red light and the blue light combined. So to be honest, if you see a company promoting pink and purple, I'd probably question how authentic and reliable their masks are. And I'd recommend going elsewhere. So in summary, you want a mask that has red light in the 630 to 660 range, some near infrared light in the 800 to 850 nanometer light range. And well, anything extra is a bonus. Blue light is nice as long as you can turn it off. Amber and green is also a nice to have, but not essential. Hey, so real quick, if you are finding value in this video and you've learned something, please let me know down below. By the way, if you want a simple one-page cheat sheet guide helping you to find the best red light therapy mask, then I've created a one-pager. You can click the link down below, download it, and hopefully it will help you find exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so now we look at power output. Now, this is the amount of energy, the amount of light photons emitted from the mask's LEDs. And it's important to note that there is a therapeutic sweet spot. If the mask is underpowered, you're not going to see benefits. And if it's too powerful, then you may also not see benefits. And you could even see some side effects such as skin irritation. Now, I have covered this topic in a lot more detail in another video, so I'll link to that down below. But in a nutshell, after looking at all the research around red light therapy masks and skin benefits, I believe to see a beneficial result from your mask, you want anything from 3 to say 15 joules over centimeter squared, with the optimal dose being between about 5 and 9 joules over centimeter squared. Now, unfortunately, a lot of companies don't share these figures, and even if they do, they're often wildly inaccurate. So the only way to calculate these numbers is to purchase a $5,000 spectrometer, send the mask off to a lab, or check out my mask comparison tool where I've listed all my own testing data in one big database. I'll put a link to that down below. It's a really neat tool. All right, now let's move on to coverage quality. Even with the right light and the right dose and intensity, if it's not hitting the right areas, then it's not going to do its job. Your skin needs consistent stimulation across key areas on the face. Now, in my reviews, I look at 10 different zones, 10 different areas on the face. These include your forehead, your cheeks, your temple, your chin, your jawline, your nose bridge, under your eyes, crow's feet, lips. I think that's all of them. But you may have a particular problematic area that you want to address, in which case that should be your focus. But otherwise, yeah, we want a mask that's hitting all those key areas. And you may be thinking, well, hey, it's a mask. Of course it's hitting those key areas. Firstly, some masks don't even physically cover that area, meaning there's no way light can hit those areas. But secondly, you'll see masks don't have many LEDs. All the LEDs are quite spaced apart. Remember, the LED is what produces light. We're wearing the mask on or very close to the skin. If there's only an LED here and here, you're not going to get light exposure on the side of the eye, for instance. So there's two things to look for here. LED count, the number of LEDs, because when you think about it, the more LEDs you have, the more exposure the skin is going to have to these LEDs. And secondly, where these LEDs are placed. Determining the amount of LEDs is simple. Companies will share it. You can look at the photos and count them if need be, but determining the coverage zones is a little bit trickier. Here's where you actually need to see the mask and see how the LEDs have been spaced out. And then every face is different. So one person may wear a mask and it may fit flat against their skin. Another person may have a unique face or a large nose, and it means the mask doesn't fit as close or as snugly as it does with someone else. I do my best in my reviews to cover this topic, but the key takeaway for you is look for a mask that has a lot of LEDs and have a look at how these LEDs are arranged and make sure they're in the areas that you want to target. The next factor we need to include is fit and ease of use. If the mask is very uncomfortable to use or very hard to use, even if it's very effective, there's a good chance you'll stop using it. It has to fit well, feel natural, and be easy to operate. So what are we looking for here when it comes to masks? We want something that stays in place while we're using it. We don't want any pain points, any pressure points. Likewise, we don't want it too tight fitting that it causes you to sweat, because there is a bit of heat buildup from these masks. We want something that's easy to take on and off. We want something that you can breathe and even speak with when it's on, so you can look really cool while doing the dishes and talk to your child. And we want something that's easy to use. 1 or 2 button presses at most. Likewise with instructions. Simple, straightforward, clear. When it comes to buying a mask, it's very, very difficult to know based on pictures if it's going to tick all of these boxes. So I've got 2 things you can do here. Well, 3. Firstly, you can check out reviews on the company's website or on YouTube, of course, though I'm always wary of reviews on a company's website, but I won't get into that topic here today. Secondly, you can check out my review, because what I do is test all of these masks. I wear them and I actually score them based on the points I just mentioned. So be sure to subscribe again if you haven't already. Thirdly, jump into our Facebook group. We've got 20 or 30,000 people over there. Do a search for the mask name, see if you found any threads. If not, create a post and ask for other people's experiences. The other thing that you can do is buy a mask and try it. And that brings me into the final category of buying a red light therapy mask. That is price and peace of mind. We'll get to price soon, but peace of mind, let me cover that. You see, let's say there's a mask out there, it ticks all the boxes, but you're really worried about how comfortable it's going to be, or you're just not too sure if it's actually going to work. You should be able to buy one of these, try it for a few weeks. If you're not happy with it, return it without any major fuss. So that's something that a lot of people won't worry about, but honestly, I think it should be factored into your buying criteria. The other point here is price. Now, you may find the best mask. It may have all the bells and whistles, the perfect palette, nice and comfortable, great returns policy, ticks all the boxes, but the price is simply out of your budget. We all have budgets to work with, and it's silly to ignore this point. Make sure you factor in shipping prices when doing the sums. I will mention that I am affiliated with a lot of red light therapy mask companies. So there's a good chance I will have a discount link that will save you hopefully a decent amount of money. I'll put a link down below. So the key takeaways here are simple. Stick with your budget, make use of the discount codes and links, and buy from a company that's well established and has a good returns policy. So now you know what a great red light therapy mask should have. It needs to have real therapeutic wavelengths. It needs to have an optimal power range. It needs to have full face coverage with plenty of LEDs. It needs to be comfortable and easy to use. And it needs to come in within your budget from a brand that backs it up. Be wary of claims such as NASA approved or NIR Light. Yes, NASA does use red light, but they didn't invent it. Also be wary of marketing claims such as 7 colors included. As we've seen, you don't need 7 colors. 2, 3 is more than enough. Likewise, if you see FDA cleared, clearance just means the device is safe, not that it necessarily works. Now, before you go, I do need to mention I'm working on a very detailed and in-depth showdown comparison video. I'm taking all of the red light therapy masks I can get my hands on and pretty much scoring them based on the criteria I've outlined in this video. I'll be releasing individual reviews of all of these masks, but of course I'll then be releasing one epic showdown video helping you find, hopefully, the perfect mask for your needs. So again, check that video out if it's live. If not, subscribe for it. And don't forget to share this video with your peers. All right, I'll see you in the next video.